Rams squad show live reaction is back. I'm Gavin Carlson, and look, it took me some time. It really did, but I'm ready to say it. The Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL.
And what it do, squad? It's your boy Brock, and are we looking at a MVP candidate in our boy Matthew Stafford?
Whose house? Rams house. It's the Rams squad. Everything Los Angeles Rams every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Rams Squad Show starts now.
Yes, it does. Whose house? Rams house. Whose squad? Rams squad. The Mob squad here after a dominant win for our Rams. Yes, they're playing a very bad football team in the New Orleans Saints, but the Rams come out looking like one of the best football teams in the NFL with a 34-10 win to move to 6-2, and they are now tied at the top of the NFC standings. Got the other member of the Mob squad today, the Rams legend himself, Big Brock, in the building. What you said it on the intro. We're not going to waste any time. Matthew Stafford looking like an MVP candidate after another 4 touchdowns in this one.
Man, just looking efficient, getting the ball to his playmakers, the pass to Puka in the side of the end zone, that was just a beauty. His connection with Devontae in the red zone has been up. So, man, the performance was just what I thought it should be. With a 1-7 team coming into SoFi, you should dominate this team no matter what, because if it was close, now things would have been questionable. So I'm glad that they went out and put on the performance that they did just to keep all the critics quiet. Like, yes, this is one of the top teams in the NFC right now.
Absolutely. And when you look at what happened in the NFL today, a win like this, it feels good, right? Like, of course, you come into this game, huge favorites. We all picked the Rams to win by double digits. They did that. And you could just sit there if you're a hater and go, they're supposed to do this. But when you look at what happened in the rest of the NFL today, right, you got teams like the Detroit Lions losing at home. You've got the Bengals collapsing. I mean, the best team in the NFL, maybe Indianapolis Colts, they lose. And then the biggest of them all, the Green Bay Packers, 2 touchdown favorites, lose at home to Carolina, who I don't think they've won a road game like that in like a decade, right? So when your elite teams in the league aren't always dominating, the Packers waiting to see them separate, they didn't do it. Here, the Lions, I come in thinking they're probably the best team in the NFC. They don't do it. And then, of course, the Eagles and Bucks on bye this week. The Rams move atop the NFC, and they do it by handling business against a bad team, but a team nonetheless that you got to go out there and beat. We'll talk about so much in this show. We'll talk about the Rams just from start to finish looking like one of the best teams in the NFL. We'll talk Matthew Stafford MVP. We'll talk about that defense. Another game where they give up just 10 points, continuing to be one of the best units in this entire league. And we will talk about the special teams. I know a lot of upset people in here saying it's time for Joshua Carty to go. We saw Puka Nacua leave with an injury. We'll get to that as well. Before we do, quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It's FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Yes, D-Mac not here today. I saw a joke in the comment section saying that D-Mac is still hung over from the Dodgers winning the World Series. In all honesty, D-Mac was in Toronto, being the journalist that he is, and so I believe he's still traveling. I think there might have been a delay or something. Shout out to him. As you guys know, I'm not popular amongst most of you on this show because I am not a Dodgers fan, but you got to tip your cap. An unbelievable Game 7, an unbelievable win for the Dodgers, and for most of LA, a fantastic weekend. Dodgers get it done, and the Rams move to 6-2. But enough of that. Let's talk about Matthew Stafford. One thing coming into this game that was going to be really interesting. Brandon Staley, of course, connections to the Rams. Brandon Staley, known for running that too high zone defense, keep everything in front of you, don't get beat over the top. Would that pose some issues against a Rams team that at times maybe you could question how consistent the offense has been? I don't know, man. They just came out and dominated the zone, right? From start to finish, it looked like National Tight End Day for the Rams. Whether it was Allen, whether it was Higbee, whether it was Ferguson, everyone getting involved. Devontae and Puka against zone too easy, forced the Saints to move to some man-to-man later in the game, and then they picked that apart. Matthew Stafford finishes this ball game with 24-32, 281 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was downright perfect in this one. And Big Brock, is this the best we've seen Matthew Stafford ever play football?
Man, he's lighting it up right now. And to think about, what D-Mac says, this isn't the end of this offense. It can get better, So for me, I'm just looking like, man, if this is kind of us running at half speed, being at the top of the NFC, this is a good place to be if you're a Rams fan right now, just watching this team. Obviously, with our expectations, we want more. I mean, that's this society now. We're so, microwavable, where we just want the instant gratifications. But I love the fact that we went into this season really not knowing if we're going to have a quarterback, and now our quarterback is balling. So for me, we're in a good spot right now, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I loved is it was Brandon Staley who had a quote in the middle of the week that said, the thing with the combination of Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, they will never, ever, ever snap the ball and not be in the right play. And what he means by that is, even if McVay calls something that Staley's defense is ready for, Matthew Stafford has so much experience, he's going to adjust and he's going to put them in the right play based on what he sees pre-snap. And I thought this game was a great example of that. You come out, the Saints are going to play zone. They don't really have a shutdown corner that can handle Puka, let alone 2 that can handle Puka and Devontae. And every single snap, it felt like the Rams knew exactly what they were doing. I think it was 4 straight passes to begin the game, and it was just boom, 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 first down. Then you mix in the run game. They were absolutely unstoppable from start to finish because they were in the right play. It felt like every single play. And obviously you're a defender. Is there ever a point where you just go out there and you feel hopeless? Like, was there a game against Brady or something where you're like, man, like we have no answer for what they're doing because pre-snap Matthew Stafford's going to put them in the right position? Like, as a defender, as a defensive unit, you must feel hopeless in a situation like that, right?
Man, when you're playing one of the greats, especially mentally up top that's playing, the quarterback position, there's going to always be a game. And I do remember a game where we're playing, the GOAT and Tom Brady in London. This was St. Louis Rams at that time. We're playing Tom Brady and the Patriots. And every play just felt like he knew what we were in. He called the right trap play. He called the right coverage. He called the right route to the tight end and things like that. So for me, there's always one game, especially when you're playing at this level in the NFL, where, one game where one of the greats are just on fire. And that's, where Matthew Stafford is right now. Obviously, he's not just it's not super consistent, but when it comes to, being one of the elites, his name kind of gets, it's not in the mix of those elite quarterbacks. I don't know why, but he's definitely putting on a performance for this year, definitely putting his name in that mix for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, the same way, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid for the last however long it's been kind of feels like a cheat code, right? When you have an offensive genius and one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, we've had this combination with Stafford and McVay for a while. It's already brought us a Super Bowl, but it really does feel right now kind of unfair. Like, the combination is just 2 guys that are so dialed in. I thought it was hilarious. Matthew Stafford at quarterback is older than the head coach of the New Orleans Saints and Kellen Moore, right? And
that's crazy.
It's almost unfair that you have basically 2 head coaches on the Rams, right? You have arguably the best play caller in the NFL, best offensive mind in the NFL in Sean McVay, and then you have Matthew Stafford, who literally has forgotten more football than even a guy like Kellen Moore, who is a highly respected offensive mind, a former quarterback himself, former then offensive coordinator, and now a head coach. Well, guess what? Matthew Stafford has been playing quarterback not only longer than Kellen Moore has been playing quarterback, but add Kellen Moore's coaching resume to that as well, right? So you basically have 2 head coaches, and so you're going up against a guy in Staley who kind of came into the week saying he was scared, and surely enough, 3 and out for the Saints. And then look at how this drive starts, Brock. I don't even know if you remember because it feels like so long ago, but Stafford 10-yard pass to Puka, Stafford 9-yard pass to Puka, Stafford 20-yard pass to Devontae Adams, Stafford 16-yard pass to Devontae Adams before you even need an incomplete or a run, right? Then you go back-to-back 3-yard runs, 4-yard run, another first down, Stafford 9-yard pass to Puka, 6-yard Kyron run, a little check down to Colby Parkinson, another short pass, and then on 3rd and goal at the 1, it's a play action, Tyler Higbee wide open. So you go an entire drive without an incomplete pass from Matthew Stafford, just absolutely dicing it up. You hit your 2 best receivers early and often, and there's been games this year where the Rams have not started well, right? Starting well has not always been the best thing for the Rams. You think of that Titans game where they let them hang around for way too long. You think about the Niners game where they started horribly and you fall in a hole against a team like that was so injured. Man, today it felt like you watched that one drive and you're like, I'm pretty sure we're going to handle this one. Not to mention the defense forces 3 3-and-outs to start the ball game. But one last thing on the Rams and on the offense and on Sean McVay. We've been so critical of the red zone, right? We've been saying there needs to be an offensive coordinator in the red zone that isn't Sean McVay. Well, how about getting it done there in the red zone, scoring on the first drive? The next time you get into the red zone, you get things done with another 3-yard touchdown pass from Matthew Stafford. And then, of course, you have the bomb on your 3rd touchdown of the first half, a 39-yard touchdown, but 2 for 2 in the red zone to start the game. And it just kind of felt like, man, the Rams, they're going to get the job done, right? Tell me, was there a single moment where you were worried watching this football game?
Not at all. Not at all. From the first drive, once I seen them, cooking the way they were cooking, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a long game for the Saints. And we're in SoFi. So, yeah, I knew the guys were going to turn up for the home team.
Yeah, you knew the vibes were going to be good in there. That they're celebrating the Dodgers World Series on the Jumbotron, right? The vibes are great. And you coming off a bye week against a bad team, right? So I think you tell me, former player, it's kind of hard to have a trap game coming off a bye week, right? Like, obviously, you got the Niners next week. And so there's a fear that you underestimate the Saints because you've got the Niners next week and because the Saints are so bad, but not coming off a bye week, right? Like, you've got a whole week to rest and then a whole week to prepare for the New Orleans Saints. There's no way that you're going to get caught in a trap game. And it felt like they came out ready to go. Is that fair to say? I mean, you tell me. A bye week, we already talked about it in the midweek show, but I can imagine it's a lot easier to avoid a trap game coming off a bye week.
Absolutely. I mean, Sean McVay-led team is always ready to go after a bye week. You give him 2 weeks to prepare for an opponent, and he should, for the most part, get the job done. I think what I was always, worried about, especially with this season, was how do we play when we're in the lead? I think we struggle playing with a lead because we don't know how to play, honestly. If we're not on the gas the whole, game, we don't understand like how to really manage a game. But I love the fact that these 2 running backs, Kyron and Corum, are playing together, and they're what am I looking for? They insinuate each other as far as like, when Kyron goes out, Corum comes in, he gives you a nice little burst of energy. When he comes out, then Kyron is like, hey, let me show you why I'm running back number 1. So he goes out there and tries to outdo him. So I love the fact that they have like a synergy about themselves, like when they come in and they want to be productive. So I love that fact that they're picking up towards the end of the year when you really need your running game.
Yeah. I mean, I think Blake Corum, I know they talked about him getting a little leaner in the offseason. I mean, not like he lost 30 pounds or something, but lost a little weight. He looks a little quicker. And Kyron is the, get you 5 yards a carry consistently, right? Another 25 carries today for 114 yards and a touchdown. Blake Corum, like you said, kind of becoming the change of pace back. 13 for 58, but the 21-yard carry was a big play in this game. Like, it does feel like they're somewhat turning into a David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Of that classic, one's going to be the hammer, one's going to be the quick guy. That's what it does feel like. It's becoming a little bit more. And yeah, I mean, I think they're complementing each other great. I feel like the run game set up the pass in the second quarter and onwards. The first drive, though, was really, we're just going to come out and, like you said, Brock, like, we're going to play with the sense of urgency that we normally don't play with at the beginning of games. Normally McVay is kind of feeling things out, but he must have felt so confident against a very familiar coach, against it, let's be honest, not very good football team. We're going to throw, then mix in the run, throw again. We're going to pad Matthew Stafford's stats. There's a couple of times I'm watching the game with my friends, and they're like, man, what happened to Kyron Williams' goal line carries? Because now it's just fades to Devontae in the corner, right? Like, and this, again, we were talking about red zone and needing a coordinator. Man, sometimes you don't got to complicate things. I've got Devontae Adams against, Kool-Aid McKinstry or Alontae Taylor, and I'm just going to let him eat, right? And he has another pair of touchdowns today, Devontae Adams, to go with Puka's 39-yarder. That was beautiful. But yeah, it just felt like a dominant performance from the get-go, and that's something we have not seen from this Rams team outside of the game 2 weeks ago, right? And that's why it feels so great now. You have back-to-back games against the Jags team that's not terrible, and then against this team where from start to finish, it never felt like the Rams were not in control. And that just feels so good. It makes it a lot easier to make an argument that the Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL. The standings show it, but now the eye test is really starting to show it as well. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we will talk the defense because, yes, the Matthew Stafford's in the MVP conversation. Yes, him and Sean McVay is a cheat code, but another 10 points is all the Rams give up. 3 and outs to start this game. The Saints offense, we didn't expect much, but they didn't give them anything. We'll talk about the defense. We'll talk about things going forward for the Rams after our break here on the Locked On Rams postcast, or not postcast, Squad Show postcast. We'll be right back.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over there at Peloton. Look, folks, it's time to break through the busiest time of the year with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus that's powered by Peloton IQ. It's Peloton's most elevated technology and equipment yet that gives you real-time guidance, and it gives you endless ways to move, whether you want to work out by yourself or if you want to work out with your favorite instructor, like my personal favorite, Alex Toussaint. He always gets me fired up to tackle the day. And the thing I like about Peloton, it helps me achieve more in less times. They have features that help you plan, stay motivated, track your progress, and Peloton IQ also provides personalized workout plans and recommendations. That's something that I use right now during the busiest time of the year covering the NFL. They plan my workouts for me based on my mood, my vibe, and also my favorite instructors. So make sure you check it out and use it because it also helps you correct your form in real time, and it maximizes your reps. It counts your reps so that you can do it smarter, safer, and more efficient. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Back here live on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Rams 34, Saints 10. The Rams moved to 6-2, tied atop the NFC. The Eagles and Bucks both had bye weeks this week. They stay at 6-2. The Rams right there with them at 6-2. And then the Packers, a shocking loss at Lambeau against the Panthers. They fall to 5-2-1. The Niners do win, but they're 6-3. The Lions with a shocking loss at home against J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings. They fall to 5-3. So the Rams right there tied atop the NFC. Yes, of course, they did lose to the Eagles. So Eagles have that tiebreaker. The Bucks will be a Rams opponent in just a couple of weeks. That game is going to mean a ton. But for now, the Rams right where they want to be atop the NFC. What is your game day or your Sunday look like, Brock? Because obviously, you're a former player. You didn't get to experience red zone and fantasy football and all that until you recently retired. I know you're not a fantasy guy, but are you waking up in the morning and still getting your lift in and maybe not watching football? Or are you tuned in at 10 a.m. Pacific time, noon where you are, and watching football from start to finish?
Yeah, man. When I get out of church, that's what I usually have on. I usually have the games on. I got the red zone with all the 4 screens on. You know, I'm watching my 3. I got 3 little teams that I'm like fans of right now. Obviously, the Rams included. So I watch those teams and kind of keep up with what's going on.
Yeah, today was absolutely absurd in the morning slate. Like the games that were going on, it was nice. I always like when the Rams play at 1. You get to have your morning, or I guess for you 3, but you get to have your morning. I got my lift in. You're watching, the other games going on, getting excited about the Rams. But, at least this week, you didn't have to feel that nervous. Like I think we all felt like the Rams were going to get this one done. But I mean, that Bears-Bengals game, one of the craziest games I've ever seen. There are a lot of games. I mean, the Falcons-Patriots game was insane. Looks like the Vegas Raiders just lost in overtime to the Jags. I guess Buffalo gets the job done against the Chiefs. So a lot of crazy games today. And it's nice that we weren't one of them. We handled business from start to finish. One of the reasons why the defense continues to be absolutely dominant. We didn't expect much from Tyler Shuck in his first start as an NFL quarterback. 15 to 24, 176, a touchdown and a pick. Only sacked one time, which was probably the biggest surprise for me. The Rams only get home once against a struggling Saints offensive line. But again, it didn't feel like the Saints ever were going to threaten. It's hard to get sacks when there aren't plays, right? The Saints had 9 plays in the entire first quarter, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Then they finally have an 8-play field goal drive, then a punt, then a touchdown. They got their 10 points there. Somehow the Rams were even better in the second half, right? Just one drive for the Saints in the second half, 3 plays and a fumble, a turnover on downs in the fourth, and then a pick in the fourth. So start to finish, Rams defense dominant. And I don't know, it just looked like this team is getting better. Do you think this Rams defense is getting better?
I mean, we already knew this front seven is one of the top, front sevens in the league right now, and they showed it again today. They make teams one-dimensional. When you can't run the ball, it's hard for you to do anything. When you can't add in that play action read type, deal, it's hard for you to do anything. So for me, it's the Rams make teams one-dimensional. When you make teams have to throw the ball, they're throwing the ball. So in that case, you can play for the pass. You can set up different blitzes. Your little pass coverage blitzes, fire zones, and things like that, because that the team is playing catch up. So I love the fact that this front seven is playing and stopping the run that they do, because that's what is the foundation of playing defenses. Obviously, stopping the run and earning your right to rush the passer on third down. So I love that they're getting after it.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Like the Saints run game, which came in as one of the like sometimes it's simple. You just got to do what you're expected to do when you're the better team, right? The Saints, not a good rushing team at all. Kamara, a legendary running back, but more so in the pass game. They lost their backup running back. I mean, their leading rusher was Taysom Hill, 4 carries for 30 yards. Guess what? He had a 29-yard carry. So outside of that, 3 carries per yard from Taysom Hill. Alvin Kamara, 14 yards on the ground. Devin Neal, 11 on the ground. Tyler Shuck, 1 carry for 2 yards. The Saints run 14 times for 57 yards. You take away the 29-yard scamper from Taysom Hill, which is kind of a gadget play. I don't want to say a fluke play, give him credit, but it's kind of a gadget play. They ran for 28 yards outside of that play, like 28 yards in a football game. So dominant, like you said, from the run D. Another thing I thought was impressive. I kind of had 2 main things I was looking at coming into this one. We already talked about it. Brandon Staley runs that too high zone. Would the Rams be able to eat against zone coverage as you kind of expect? They did, right? They ate early and often, chipping away, pass. Great. The other thing was the Chris Shula and the Rams coaching staff, they gave Kellen Moore a lot of credit coming into this game, saying he's really good in his first 15, meaning when they script the first 15 plays, that's when the Saints have found some success despite being not a good football team. Well, the first 9 plays, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, right? Like it doesn't get more dominant than that. So the 2 things you hope to see, the Rams having a nice start against the Saints zone coverage, instant touchdown drive. The other thing, hoping that they are able to handle the scripted plays of Kellen Moore, 3 and outs to start the game, right? So 2 huge A-pluses on the 2 things you maybe were the most concerned about, I guess you could say. And yeah, when you can't run the ball, it's hard to be effective in this league. Obviously, the secondary gets criticized a lot. Thought they were perfectly fine in this game. Shaheed did get behind the D for 26 on one play. Chris Olave had a 27-yard catch as well, but still just 176 yards through the air, or 167 yards it is through the air. Not much, right? Not much for this passing game. A dominant game from start to finish. Maybe didn't see a ton of highlight plays outside of one from your man, Nate Landman, with another forced fumble in this ball game. Like, this has got to be one of the best acquisitions in football, right? Like, he's been one of the best defenders in this league.
Absolutely, man. I love the way he just has a knack for going after the ball, and he's shown it 3 or 4 games this year where he's coming up with some critical plays where he's peanut punching the ball out of the offensive guy's hands, and we're recovering those balls, and that's just giving our offense another chance to put some more points on the board. So I love the fact that he goes after the ball the way he does. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles, and he's always in the place that he needs to be. So I love that fact that, if he's not peanut punching the ball, he's actually bringing the guy down. So for me, yeah, I think he's been one of the top acquisitions, in the NFL for the Rams for sure this year.
Yeah, he was huge. Braden Fisk did get the one sack of the game for the Rams. Really not that many like big plays. They just kind of the Saints just didn't have the football, right? Like you had the one sack from him, only one other TFL in this ball game from Kobe Turner. Any concerns that you only see 2 TFLs, 1 sack in this game, or is it more so just that the Saints didn't have the football and it was a dominant win, so shut up, who cares?
I mean, you obviously, as a defensive tackle, former defensive tackle, talking to you, yeah, obviously you would want to see some more stats on the board for your boys, but you have a dominant performance versus a team that you're supposed to dominate. No matter how it gets done, it got done. So we just look for you just always want to look for making plays as a defender, but not that this is the NFL, they get paid too. So hey, you did what you have to do. They didn't run for a lot of yardage, and even though you put them in a situation to pass the ball a lot, they still didn't get a lot of that as well. So I say an A+ game by the defense and all.
Yeah, I mean, some of these like total stats are absurd, right? Like total plays, Saints 40, Rams 77. Total yards, Saints 224, Rams 438. The Saints 2 of 9 on third down, 0 of 2 on fourth down. Meanwhile, the Rams 7 of 14 on third down, a perfect 2 for 2 on fourth down. Just domination from start to finish. I thought, yeah, the time of possession, I'm trying to find that one. Yeah, Rams had the ball for 43 minutes and 53 seconds. Saints have it for just over 16 minutes. So the Rams almost had the ball for 75% of the game. Even with that, the Rams still force a fumble and get a pick. So yes, would it be nice to see a sack or 2 more or TFL 2 or more? Sure. But 2 turnovers in only 16 minutes of opportunity for the defense, you will absolutely take it. Absolutely take it. And if you kind of look at what this Rams defense has done in recent games, it's been domination, right? 10 points against the Saints, 7 points for the Jags, 3 points for the Ravens, right? 20 total points allowed in the last 3 games. They're averaging under a touchdown allowed per ball, per game, the last 3 games of this season. So it does feel like that Niners loss where you inexcusably give up 26 points to the Niners without Brock Purdy, without George Kittle, without Juwan Johnson, right? Like that loss woke up this defense, and they have been downright disgusting since then. Niners next week, obviously they look good. We'll certainly talk about that towards the end of the show and going into next week, but the defense cannot be playing better as a unit. I don't know. I'm curious, Brock, like do defenses, everyone kind of assumes that offenses get into a groove, right? Like you can look and see that a quarterback is feeling it, like especially Matthew Stafford. He starts doing no-look passes. He starts getting, showing some movement with the legs, right? Like the touchdown celebrations and everything. But is it the same for the defense, or is it a little bit different? Like, is there a hot streak for a defense, or is it more so just a unit is consistent? I don't know. Like, is that a thing?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't call it a hot streak, but when you're getting multiple 3 and outs, you're getting off the field, you're getting the fumble recovery, turnovers, things of that nature. You're in the groove as a defense. If you can call out plays, you guys are in front of motions, things like that of that nature. You're humming on all cylinders on defense, and I think the Rams are at that point where everybody just knows what their job is. Nobody's trying to play outside the scheme. Nobody's trying to be a hero or anything. It's more of like a bend, don't break kind of defense, especially when it comes to the secondary. It's like, let the guys, be on top of all routes. Let them catch underneath, make the tackle. We'll play another down rather than try to, man up, single high, anything like that, and get beat over top. So I like the way they're playing because they just give themselves a chance as much as possible.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, whether it's a hot streak or not, like, like you said, it's more so just this team they're playing arguably the best football defensively in the league. Like they came into the week giving up 16.7 points a game, third best in the NFL, just 0.3 behind the Chiefs, who just gave up 28 against the Bills. So you're going ahead of them. And then just behind them, or just better than them, the Houston Texans giving up 15.1 a game. They gave up 18 today. So the Rams just slightly gained some ground. I don't know if it's enough mathematically to be number one, but who cares? The Rams are arguably the best defense when it comes to scoring, when it comes to total yards, when it comes to forcing turnovers. And it doesn't feel like the same way it feels like this Rams offense is still maybe got some more room to grow, dare I say, right? Like Ferguson can still improve. Devontae can still catch more. Puka can try to stay healthy for a whole game. There's still more to be had there. Same thing defensively. Like Jared Verse has not had that. He's one of the best players in the NFL games yet that we know is in him, where he could have 3 or 4 sacks in a ball game. Byron Young has been hot, but cooled off a little bit. Like it feels like there's still maybe another level that the front seven can take, and yet they might have the best statistical defense in the league despite that. It's nasty, it's disgusting, it's great, and that's why I think we're both ready to say the Rams are right up there as one of the best teams in the NFL. I mean,
absolutely. Who
else has a top 5 defense and also, by the way, an MVP candidate at quarterback, right? Just the Chiefs, I guess. They come into this week with a top 5 defense and Patrick Mahomes. Well, guess what? They just lost again. And you can maybe say the Patriots have a top 5 defense and an MVP level player, at least right now. And Drake May has been balling out. But really outside of that, even the Colts lost this week, right? Like it really does feel like the Rams are right there as one of the best teams in the NFL. And as someone who has gotten killed by the comment section at times for being a little too negative, I think I'm ready to say it, right? Like, why not? Why not the Rams to make a deep run this season? We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about maybe the only negatives in this ball game. Joshua Cardi misses a field goal and misses an extra point. Puka Nacua does pick up an injury in this ball game. So, I mean, it's close to a perfect day as you can have, but there's always going to be 1 or 2 things in the NFL to critique. We'll do that after our break here on another victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. I'll be right back. Now, on this Victory Sunday, today's show is brought to you by the wonderful people at Supply House. There we go. Let me get it up. There it is. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts fast for a project, Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Their part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters, and their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and a dedicated support line make the whole process smoother. So join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's SHNFL5 at supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Well, the Rams are real good as I get my boy Brock back in here. Rams 34, Saints 10, a dominant performance from start to finish, and what is looking like one of the best teams in the NFL. Now, it wasn't perfect. And only because of that darn special teams unit. I mean, every single week, it feels like something goes wrong. And I was laughing with a couple of my roommates, for other teams, for other sports, whether it's college, whatever. And it just the Rams in the past, right? The Rams score a touchdown, and you can, go to your kitchen and pick up a glass of water, get your food out of the oven or something while the extra point is happening. Not this team. Not this team, because you never know what is going to happen when that darn field goal unit comes out for the Rams. And the first touchdown, I think people are going to forget because you made the extra point. But I don't know if you remember, Brock, the first touchdown of the game, the Rams come out, they kick the extra point, but there's whistles blowing everywhere. Oh, there's something wrong, so actually the play didn't count. All right, line up and do it again. Surely they're just going to kick it in, right? Nope. More whistles, false start of the Rams, move it 5 yards back. Finally, on the third try, you make the extra point. But even then, it's like you got the reminder right there of it's never safe when the Rams try to kick an extra point. Well, guess what? It only got worse from there for Joshua Carty and company. Carty misses a field goal in this ball game. He misses an extra point in this ball game. And there was also a 4th and 3 at the 35 that would have been, about a 52-yard field goal. Rams elect to go for it instead. I don't know if that's fully because they don't trust Carty or just because they want to be aggressive against a bad football team, but still, you don't trust your kicker anymore. And at what point do you say you got to get rid of him? I don't know, but it's not looking good. Did you see that missed extra point, Brock? That might have been the worst extra point I've ever seen. How often have you ever seen an extra point not hit the net behind the field goal, right? Like, it's one thing to miss it wide left. It barely scrapes. It hits the net. That ball went in. A fan got a souvenir today because Joshua Carty was that wide on a field goal. Like, you were on the team with Greg the Leg. You got to have great peace of mind knowing if the Rams are anywhere near for field goal range, it's going in. What are Rams players, defenders, offensive players thinking now with a kicker and a special team situation like the Rams have right now?
I know the Rams, they have great PR. They got a nice team over there. So I doubt anybody says anything in the media. But in that locker room, there's some stares that you wouldn't want to see at all if you were a player or a special teams kicker, and this is all you do, because we all know the kickers, they got 1 or 2 periods where they work, and then the rest of the time they're working on a golf game. So, man, we need, if these kicks are needed, we need y'all to come through, and then if you're not coming through, we need to see you practicing more if that's the case. Let's not just do your 2 little periods and then go into the building. Let me see you practice some more. So I doubt that, he's on this team and he doesn't do that. I mean, it just might be a bad year for the guy, man. Yeah. Maybe he's in his head at this point where, he doesn't really have the confidence in himself that he once had, because, man, a lot of people don't realize, man, this game is a lot more mental than you'll think. Instead of, besides all the brute strength that you see, this game is a lot, it deals with your mental as well. So I just hope he gets better, man, because I would hate to see a guy, start with a team. I think was drafted by the team, and to see them feel like, dang, they missed the mark, on this guy. So I know it's in everybody's benefit for him to clean it up on special teams, or at least to come through when we really need him,
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I gotta imagine that being a kicker is probably the most strictly mental position in the NFL, maybe in sports. Let's be honest. All these guys can make a 60-yard field goal with nobody watching, with no one rushing them while they're trying to kick, right? So it really is. Sure, we saw the Jags kicker today set the record 68-yarder. Yes, are there guys whose legs are a little bit stronger? Sure. Are there guys who maybe are a little bit more accurate? And this is a game of inches and fine margins, sure. But it feels like kicking is a mental thing, right? And it doesn't help that earlier in the year, it wasn't just him missing, but it was him getting a bunch of kicks blocked, right? Let's not act like the Eagles game was him shanking 2. It was getting 2 blocked. There was other games this season where he's had field goals blocked, but now it feels like it's gone from that to everything, right? Whether it's getting the kick off, now it's you're just missing it, right? I mean, again, if you shank a kick that bad, you're at SoFi Stadium, man. You're not playing in Green Bay where it's snowing. There ain't no rain. It's SoFi. It is as gorgeous, as perfect of a kicking condition as you can have. And you miss that bad. You're exactly right, Brock. There's something between the ears that you feel for the guy a little bit, right? He's certainly going through it. The moral of the story is, I don't know how much longer you can wait for him to maybe find it, because it's all fun and games right now. We can laugh. Right. When you win 34-10. We weren't laughing when it cost us the Eagles game, right? And we will not be laughing if we are in a nail biter against the Eagles, against the Lions, against the Packers, against the Niners in the playoffs, and it comes down to missing a field goal. And it's one thing if a great kicker misses it, right? The same way, even the Dodgers Blue Jays game yesterday, right? It's one thing if your Blue Jays closer, who's been money all year, happens to give up a home run to a guy who you don't expect to hit it, right? That's sports sometimes. It's amazing, you tip your cap. But when it's an issue all season, you don't address it, and then it's the reason you lose oh man, I don't care how good the PR team is, Brock. There will be players cussing out Joshua Carty if he misses a game tying or game winning field goal in the playoffs. So this needs to be addressed one way or another, because it's already a problem now, and it's only that much worse when it really, really, really matters. Because you say it, D-Mac says it all the time. This could be an 8-0 football team if they make a couple field goals. And again, it's nice that we're still 6-2 and that you're still atop the NFC standings, but you could be 8-0. And in the postseason, it could be the difference between you saying we could have been Super Bowl champs and, oh, we are Super Bowl champs. And it's infuriating that it keeps happening. Take me through, if you're a player, like, do you go over and walk to the kicker and tell him, hey, we still got your back? Like, we still believe in you? Or is it one of those things where you leave the guy alone and, you don't want to even give him encouragement because it's just going to confuse him even more? Like, how would you handle it if you were a teammate of Joshua Carty right now?
Man, I was always a guy where everybody has to do their job. If your job is to make kicks, like, let's do that. If your job was to block for the kick, let's do that. Like, I don't feel like I have to encourage you at all. You got enough people telling you, hey, it's gonna be okay. Hey, I'm gonna be the guy in the back end seeing, are you doing what you need to do to improve as well? So, I kind of leave guys alone. I don't do the encouragement because I feel like it'll put more pressure on you. So hey, I'll get it corrected. Hope that the guy has that mentality of I'll get it corrected and I'll do better. So hopefully, like you said, hopefully he finds it, or we find someone else that will do it. I believe in this front office that they probably are working out some kickers at this moment. So I don't put it past them at all.
Yeah, it is kind of the only position in the NFL, unfortunately, where, like, if you're not getting it done, you don't get to be on the bench for a week, figure it out while someone else goes. Like, no, every position on this roster matters too much. I don't think I've ever seen a team have two kickers on their roster, right? Like, if he's not the guy, if you don't want him to kick your field goals next week, then guess what you have to do? You have to cut him and pick someone else up. You can't pick someone else up and still keep him, right? Like, that's just not a thing that happens. And it does feel like the Rams don't want to part ways with a kicker that they've had out of Stanford that they used draft capital on, right? Like, you don't want to have to make a decision like that. But if you're not trusting, I forget what game it was. I don't know if it was the Jags game or if it was the week before, but there was a game where there was no reason for the Rams to not kick a field goal, and they chose not to kick a field goal. That moment, it felt like we don't trust this guy. And yet again, you had a 4th and 3 that I don't think you have to kick that, but the Rams didn't even think about kicking it, right? And you saw him miss an extra point. You saw him miss a field goal. At what point do you just say enough is enough? We can't let this Super Bowl window be ruined by a kicker of all things, and a kicker that we've seen struggle all season. You can't have that happen. But again, it does feel like we're in a position where we're only complaining about a few things, because this is a team that everywhere else is so good, right? Like, they answer the question of a number 3 target today. They didn't need one. They just used all the tight ends. They used the running game. They're fine. You answer the question of the secondary, at least this week, that Saints offense had nothing going, right? So it really feels like we can rage about the state of the kicker because there's not much else to complain about in Ramsville, right? There's not much to complain about in Hollywood right now. We're going to take our last break, and we come back. Let's talk a little bit more about the state of the NFL and where the Rams rank into. I want to hear Michael Brockers tell me that the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl in a couple months from now, right? This is title town right now in LA. We just saw the Dodgers get it done. Like, are we ready to say the Rams are one of the top favorites to win the Super Bowl? They might be. So we'll talk about that after our last break here on another victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Now, finally, on this victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show, it is brought to you by FanDuel. Look, we love the NFL, but we also love the NBA, and the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back here live on the Locked On Rams Squad show. 2/3 of the Mob Squad is here. D-Mac, I don't know if he's still in Toronto. I know he's not because he's a journalist, but we're going to make the jokes that he was in the clubhouse drinking the beer, drinking the champagne, and that's why he's not here today as the Dodgers do win the World Series for D-Mac and the rest of you Angelinos, not for me. And I don't think for you, Big Brock, are you a baseball guy at all? Are you a Dodgers fan? Are you something else? Or are you just football through and through?
Man, I kind of watch this football through and through, man. Everything else kind of, I can catch the highlights, so I did see the highlights of the game. So that I thought that was awesome. But, I just kind of watch my football as much as I can. And then everything else, I'll catch the highlights. You don't really have to watch it, live because the highlights are there for you to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine when sports is 24/7 for you right, like your entire childhood and adulthood until now, right? Like, and even then, it's not
right.
like you don't do sports anymore. You're still doing shows 24/7, right? It's like, even for the biggest sports fans, sometimes maybe you need a little break. So I can imagine you being like, look, I'll stick to football and I'm good otherwise. People in here, shout out to all of you in here live. Rip those comments. We'll keep reacting to them as we go. Native Assassin JD says, Stafford for MVP. Certainly, we are thinking that is a possibility again after another 4 touchdowns. He came into this week tied for second in touchdowns, came into the week tied or second in passing yards. Again, the completion percentage went up today. The passing yard average went up today. Another 4 touchdowns in a week where other teams did not look good. And that's why you really can start saying the Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL. In case some people forget, let's just quickly go through the NFL one more time. The previously 7-1 Indianapolis Colts, who, oh, by the way, their only loss was to us, the LA Rams. They lost today in Pittsburgh. Like, are the Steelers good? They're decent, but they're not dominate the best team in the AFC good. They did that today, right? The Broncos survived. I'm still not ready to call them elite yet. The Patriots survived as well. They literally won by a point against the Falcons. So no dominant performances from any of the top teams in the AFC standings. Bills did pick up a big win against the Chiefs, but they're still not, they don't feel dominant yet. And then you go to the NFC and you see the state of the NFC. The Lions lose a game at home, which shouldn't happen to begin with, but especially against a 3-4 Vikings team coming into the week. The Niners, they did win, but there's so many injuries. I don't know if you're ready to call them elite yet. And the Packers, who are supposed to be the darlings of the NFC, Brock, they went and got Micah Parsons after already being one of the best teams in the NFL. They lose to the Panthers at Lambeau. I don't know if you caught that game. Did you catch that game at all?
I didn't catch that game, but I mean, if that wasn't a game that just emulates a trap game that we all talk about, that dirty trap game where you beat a good team at home and then you go against a team that you aren't expecting to come with no energy or do anything at all, comes out and then, catches you on the chin. So I know they feel that that's a bad loss. So it just kind of almost shows like the little immaturity. Like I love Green Bay and I love where they're going, but it sort of shows that little immaturity that they have to allow that game, knowing what kind of game that is to beat them. So I think they'll still be in it, but at the end of the day, it kind of, like I said, shows a team maturity into really focusing and beating the team that you're supposed to beat.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why it feels so great to have a 34-10 win a week after a 35-7 win, a week after a 17-3 win. Like, the Rams are handling business when you expect them to and when you need them to, while other teams are not, right? Like, the Packers, that's not their only bad performance this season. They barely survived against the Cardinals. They didn't even win against the Cowboys. That was a game they tied, right? Like, they've had a couple games where they have underperformed. The Lions, you can't underperform more than losing 3 games, right? The Lions have lost 3 football games, right? And you look at the Eagles, I still think they're probably the class of the NFC, kind of like baseball. The Dodgers, you got to call them the champs until they lose, right? The Eagles are still the champs until they lose. The Eagles did beat the Rams, but if the Rams played the Eagles again tomorrow, like, I kind of like my chances with the Rams. Like, are you ready to say that if the Rams play the Eagles tomorrow, you're picking the Rams, or you still think the Eagles are maybe slightly more talented?
Man, I hate this being honest like this, but I think the Eagles are just showing a little bit more as of just being more talented, more guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Especially on the offense and defensive side of the ball. They just have a little bit more names that have been consistent in this league. So for me, right now, I would think that the Eagles still have a little bit of an edge over the Rams at this point of the season. But there's still so much season, so much season to play. And I think the Rams can get so much better. So I think moving forward, if they continue to get better as a team, I definitely think they can compete with the Eagles again, just like they did last time. I mean, honestly, like we talked about it early in the show, a couple of made kicks, we come out of there with a win. So they're definitely at that level. I just feel like the Eagles have a little bit more names behind them. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, right here he's saying if we had special teams, then no doubt, like you said, a couple field goals away from beating them already. And we saw what happened last year. They destroyed us. And then we play them in the playoffs, and it's a coin flip game, right? And so things only get tighter. They only get closer in the postseason. If we were to play the Eagles in the postseason, it would come down to a couple plays. And while, yes, I do still think the Eagles are slightly better, I mean, it's close, right? Like Jalen Hurts is, I still think, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but Matthew Stafford's playing better football than Jalen Hurts right now, right? Like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, right freaking there. Like, you have to love their coaching staff for the Eagles. They get it done every year. I'm taking Sean McVay. I'm taking Chris Shula right now. Like, it's close, right? It really is close. I think the Bucs are kind of still, I don't know if they're actually a 6-2 football team. Like, yes, Baker's kind of like Matthew Stafford playing some of the best football of his career, but a lot of injuries there. Mike Evans out a couple weeks, a lot of injuries for the Bucs, both offensively and defensively. I really do think you can make an argument that it's Eagles, Rams 1-2 until we see other things happen. And certainly next week will be the Rams' biggest opportunity in a while to have a statement win that would tell the league, oh yeah, we're right there, because you've got those dirty, darn San Francisco 49ers next week at Levi. It's going to be a crazy game. Absolutely. Like, that would be the win, right? You look at the three coming up for the Rams: Niners, Seahawks, Bucs. I think if the Rams win 2 of those 3, you still feel like the Rams are one of the top teams in the NFC. If the Rams run the table at San Francisco, at home against Seattle, and at home on Sunday Night Football against the Bucs, you win those 3 games, the Rams are the best team in the NFL. Am I exaggerating? I feel like I've been the most negative about the Rams just because I have to see it before I believe it. I feel like you're like that too. But
absolutely,
is that facts that if the Rams go 3-0 against the Niners, Seahawks, and Bucs, they would be 9-2 with some impressive wins in the conference right there? That's the best team in football, right?
I think so. I mean, those are 3 formidable opponents. I mean, obviously Seattle 49ers, obviously your division rivals. And then you have, who was that third team one more time? It would be
hosting the Bucs.
Hosting the Bucs. And then you have the Bucs coming in as well. So, yeah, 3 formidable opponents. I just think, if we run the table on them, then we're setting ourselves up for a good position to, possibly have a bye going into the playoffs, which anybody needs, towards the end of the season. So I think we can be right there if we just focus in each and every week, man, just one game at a time, not looking down the line. I think we can get it done, man. We'll definitely be the ones talked about as far as getting a bye going into the playoffs. We hold everything together.
Yeah, and everyone in here in the comments is saying that they agree, except for the kicker, right? Craig in here saying need to replace the kicker. Otani is free now. Can he kick? I mean, he can do everything else, so maybe he could, right? Like, EHL says special teams left. Then we got a Super Bowl, so we good, right? Like, it does feel like that's the only negative coming out of this week. But other than that, so many positives that the Rams win 34-10 against the Saints, a game you expect them to win. But not only did they, it's hard to expect a team to win by 24, and they did that. I mean, absolutely every box you want checked was checked today. Stafford, one more time in case you forget, 24 of 32, 281, and 4 touchdowns. Kyron, 25 carries, 114 yards and a tud. And like Brock beautifully pointed out, backed up by 13 for 58 from Blake Corum in this game. Puka Nacua does leave with an injury in this one. Who knows? If this game was close, maybe he would have, come back in this game. No need for him to come back. How about 7 for 95 and a touchdown? You talked about that 39-yard touchdown. Just elite wide receiver ability to wait until the final moment to show your hands, right? You don't show them early. You wait until the final moment. A beautiful dime from Matthew Stafford. Devontae Adams, 5 for 60 and 2 touchdowns. Terrence Ferguson, 2 for 54, including a 36-yarder. How about Davis Allen, 3 for 37? Tyler Higbee, 3 catches, including a touchdown. Everybody got the job done today for the Rams. Defensively, you give up 10 points. You're arguably the best defense in the NFL. It's a great day. You know, I know you're an LSU guy, but one thing we say in UCLA land, it's a great day to be alive and be a Bruin. Brock, it is a great day to be alive and be a Los Angeles Ram because you're 6-2. You're right there among the elite teams in the NFL. Any closing words from you, just seeing the way the Rams handle business today to move into a tie for atop the NFC standings?
Man, I love Terrence Ferguson getting some more action. I know that was always D-Mac's thing as well. It's like, can we see Terrence Ferguson get some action? I love the fact that they're implementing him. Obviously, today with the offense, they had a lot of chances to go out there and, you know, showcase their skills with the defense, you know, just really shutting out the Saints. So I was glad that everybody that, you know, pretty much put in some work today and, you know, got the ball and did what they needed to do with it. So, you know, seeing the Devontae connection happen, Puka still balling out like he always does, man. I love where we're at, you know, being a Rams fan for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a happy flight, you know, or, you know, up to the Bay Area coming in a few days, right? Like hard not to feel great about where you're at. And again, we will have everything you need about that, that Rams-Niners game on the midweek show. You know, D-Mac will be back. The three of us will be in here. I think it'll be interesting because I think it's going to be one of the few weeks where not all three people pick the Rams, just given how big of a game this is for them. We'll see. I imagine the Niners are maybe the slightest favorites in this game next week just because they are at home, but they're so banged up and the Rams are playing so well. It's going to be a thriller. We cannot wait. But for now, let's enjoy the rest of our Sunday knowing that the Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL after another dominant win. We're going to wrap it up here. Shout out to everybody in here. You know, well over 100 people live throughout the entire show. Billions and billions of comments. Rams, the Ramley, it really is the best. So we appreciate you guys so much. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. We will be back here on Thursday, midweek show, to talk about our 6-2 LA Rams and those darn ugly 49ers. We'll do that later, but for now, have a great rest of your Sunday. Whose house? Rams house. Whose squad? It's the Locked On Rams squad show. Take care, everybody.